What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another tier list video. I'm Mr. Spades, top 10 tank of former contenders player. So, new Overwatch patch drop, and it has shaken the meta up quite a bit. You know, nerfs to Zarya, Diva, Genji, Kariko, um, Diva. If I didn't say that one already, yeah, there's a good amount of nerfs coming in. You know, let's see where each of the heroes shake up. Some moved up, some moved down, and yeah, let's get into that. All right, so starting in no particular order for this tier list, we'll try and go, a little bit faster. I know that last one was, quite long and explained like, way too long, and now that got some, criticisms for that. So try and make this one, quick, fast. Yeah. So Diva was S tier, with the nerf still strong, but we'll keep her in A tier now, just because her kit is still very useful, being able to engage, disengage fast, still does quite a bit of damage. So yeah, Diva is still in A tier. Zen, didn't really change much. Nerfed, not really any nerfs, but he does still stay in C because not as quite as good as the other supports, as we'll get to. But with Roadhog moving up into the meta, the Discord on him still pretty solid. So yeah, we'll keep Zen at the C tier. And since we just talked about Hog, let's go find him real quick. Yeah, so maybe we'll just do all of S tier first. Everybody that wants to get in and out of this, I'll make it fast for you guys. So yeah, so Roadhog, one of the new additions into S tier. Yeah, he's just really strong now. With Zarya being nerfed, same with Diva, he gets a lot more, value. And yeah, Monkey, also an S tier. With the nerf to Diva and Zarya, Monkey now is probably, one of the stronger tanks. People do use Roadhog to counter Monkey, so if you're gonna do that, then you're just kind of in like a big cycle of rotations, which will bring me to Rissa. Rissa going into A tier, and this is because Rissa was still strong in like the last tier list, and she still stays strong in this current meta, but now she is used to counter Roadhog. So if you have Roadhog in one of your games, Monkey can get countered pretty easily, so you'd go Orisa. And then, if they swap to any of the other tanks, they want to go Zarya to counter the Orisa, then you can just go Winston to counter the Zarya. So it's just like this, rotating cycle. So make sure you're, swapping characters around to give yourself the best advantage. So Zarya, was S tier. Now I'd say she's about B tier. Definitely not as good as Diva or Orisa, so she dropped down quite a bit. But yeah, if you find yourself in that situation, it's still, cycle of those characters is still right there. You can use Zarya to counter the Orisa. Let's see, what other characters? S tier. Let's go Reaper. Reaper has moved up into the S tier, and yeah, this is because nerfs to Zarya, not gonna have the bubbles Diva as well, and Reaper is really good counter to Winston. So when you're doing like a fast, hard engage comp, Reaper just is very useful into that. So that's why he is up into the S tier. Sojourn didn't get nerfed at all, so yeah, it's quite a shocker that she's staying up in the S tier. Rico, tiny nerf, but whether like teleport, not enough to really change anything about it. So drink some water real quick and then get back into this. Yeah, so Kriko, not changed, still one of the best. Lucio as well. They're pretty much like the dive compositions. It's pretty much just good with Kriko and Lucio. Didn't get changed at all. And with Winston, it pretty much just be always like diving backline. If you are playing Winston, make sure you're trying to counter the Sojourn, since that is the hard carry. Same with Hog. You're just gauging, looking for hooks and all that good stuff. So let's see. The last DPS that is getting moved up into S tier because of this patch is a Tracer. So Tracer got a pretty good buff. She got like her spread reduced to like 20 meters or something, which is, you know, really good for Tracer. So yeah, she is up into the S tier. If you guys want like more in-depth explanations, feel free to like ask me on like during the Twitch streams and stuff like that, since I'll just try and get this one, you know, quick explanation and then on to the next one, just to get it over and done with fast for those of you who just want to see which characters are good and which characters are not. So now on to Bastion, since he's right here. Bastion, not very good. I think he is probably D tier. So I mean, he can be used in some situations. You can like melt a monkey, but yeah, other than that, he's just kind of gets hard rushed on, countered really easily, doesn't have self heal. So yeah, he's definitely D tier. Cassidy, I want to say B tier. He could come into A just to, you know, keep the Tracers in check now. Yeah, well, but then he does, but in this composition, like Cassidy will just get dove first and died pretty fast. So I think we'll have to leave him. Still moved up from the last one into B tier, but I don't think he's good enough for A tier, just because in this dive type composition, I'm not going to get much value on Cassidy, and then you're just that one target that everyone's going to dive on and kill you. So you're not really going to get much value that way. So I think we'll keep him in B, but not good enough to get up higher in the list. Sigma moving up to B tier here. Still solid tank, inputs a lot of damage, but does get countered by that like hard engage comp, since when you put your shield up, they'll just dive past it, and then shield's kind of useless. Still good on Junkertown and Circle Royale, but yeah, not as good as these other ones in like the current meta, which is like high fast engages. Yeah, so now we'll talk about the Genji. So Genji was S tier, quite hard nerfs for him, so still decent, so you can still get him played if you want, but definitely not, you know, as OP and just like you pick him and you win pretty much, with the ammo reduction and the damage reduction. So yeah, drop down to B tier, but still a solid pick there. Widowmaker, everyone's favorite Widowmaker. I'm gonna leave Widow in A, just because Widow has a very high skill cap. If you're hitting your shots with very little shields used in, like, you know, in the current meta, there's really like a, you know, Reinhardt shields or anything like that. So Widow just has like up team potential to get picks, as long as you're like using the maps to your advantage, taking those corners, and yeah, just, you know, using off angles and stuff. Don't really be like shooting straight lines, you know, from where your team is. Like, you don't want to try and like flank around and get like a good angle on their supports or something. So yeah, Widow still in A tier, just because if you do pop off, then kind of very oppressive. Let's see, Baptiste. I think Baptiste is a pretty solid support character still, so we'll leave him up in A, just because of his like immorts, and with Hog being meta now in S tier, you can use your immorts to, you know, save people from his hook. He also inputs a lot of damage, so you can stay back there and just, you know, left click the shit out of Hog and get him low. Same with Winston breaking bubble and stuff. So yeah, those reasons I think Bap is up in the A tier. Ashe, I think, is A tier as well. She's always been, you know, pretty solid. TNT, yeah, easy to hit those. Left click does tons of damage. So I think we're leaving Ashe up in the A tier. Both the flying heroes, Pharah and Echo, since D.Va did get nerfed and not in like S tier, she's not played as much anymore. I think Echo and Pharah like have moved up a little bit, just because since D.Va isn't a must pick and in every match, she kind of got, those two characters kind of got like nerfed by her, because you can't really play, you just get dominated by a D.Va. So they have a little bit more usefulness, and you can get away with playing them a lot more often now, since you'll probably be seeing like a Hog and a Winston in your game, and these characters kind of just, will get a ton of value if they don't swap to like a diva to try and counter them. So be wary if you can get counter swapped and pick to that, but those two are pretty solid in this current meta now. Let's see, Junker Queen. Yeah, Junker Queen still shits. Nothing's really changed about her. Not very useful. Gets kind of owned by all of these. Yeah, so Junker Queen still bad. Feels bad, man. One day she'll get back into the top of the ranks, and it would be fun. Let's see. Next one we could talk about Reinhardt. So Reinhardt, better than Junker Queen. Not good enough to be put up any higher though. So yep, Reinhardt still in the same spot. Can be used in certain situations, but in like the higher ranks and stuff like that, you're just gonna get like poked out, and these other characters just get a little bit more value, because if they rush with like a Reaper or Sojourn, just destroys your shield, and then they're gonna engage. Yeah, it's not very useful. So leave Reinhardt's down in the C tier, but he can be used in certain situations as long as you want to try and keep a fast pace. If you're playing Reinhardt, if you're playing slow, then your shield's going to break and you're done for. So look for like aggressive pins, aggressive like play style if you are trying to get value with Rein, and you might find some success doing that way. Hey, let's go. Oh yeah, Sombra. So Sombra, probably one of the hardest hit characters in this nerf. I think she goes from like S tier all the way down to like D probably. And this is because like you can't chain hack anybody anymore. I think like the duration was like reduced. I'm not sure. But yeah, not being able to like hack and then rehack was kind of just really tough onto the Sombra, which made her like pretty strong. So yeah, definitely one of the best. Now down to not that viable. So still can get use out of her, especially if the team is running like a Reinhardt or like a Doom, Hog, stuff like that. You can maybe get value with like a hack, and as long as you kill him fast. But yeah, other than that, yeah, Sombra not really in the best of spots right now. Let's see, next one right here, Moira. I think Moira is solid. Support's not enough to be with Baptiste. Yeah, I think Moira's probably B tier, just because she does have good survivability. So in this like high engage tempo meta, being able to survive with Moira is pretty key as a support. Everyone's gonna be looking to either dive you or like the Sojourn. So Moira's like fade ability keeps her alive, as long as you're like healing your team and throwing some damage in there. Don't be one of those just damage only. Moira's kind of useless to your team, but as long as you're getting a good balance between the two, you can still find pretty good value with the Moira, but not as much as these other supports up there. Mercy though, I think is probably with Zen at C. Not the worst, but definitely not the most ideal. Just kind of like hard locked. If you have like a Pharah and Echo, then you can play Mercy, but if not, then Mercy's not really getting any value whatsoever with your team, and you're just one of those characters that you're not gonna have either have a good defensive ult, or you're not gonna have the offensive ult, right? So if you have like a Kriko and a Mercy, then you have no defensive with beat. If you have like somebody's just a lock-in Bap and Mercy, then you have like window, but then you still don't have defensive. Mercy Lucio is not really the best team composition you can have at all. So yeah, can be used in certain like high poke DPS comps if you're running like the Sigma and playing distance, but with like the Winston high engage fast paced gameplay, Mercy just doesn't really have like the best use. So yeah, unless you're running Far Echo, probably stay away from the the Mercy pick here. May, I think, is also like DC tier. Maybe not as bad as Bastion, just because of now that they have like a Hog you can maybe wall off and maybe, you know, get value on them. So maybe, yeah, I'll keep her in C, but not that useful since wall breaks pretty fast. Yeah. Let's see, Ana. I think we are going to have her in B tier here. Yeah, better than Moira, but I don't think I get enough to be an A. And a couple of the reasons for that is she can get the engages on to like Hog or something like that. You can get like the anti or the sleep, but in like the Winston comp, which a lot of people are going to be running, you're just one of those targets that are going to get dove first. So yeah, it's just you're going to put your team into like a disadvantage because you're going to get dove instantly killed. Yeah, so Ana, B tier, but still viable. And if a Hog's running loose, rampant, you don't know what to do. You know, as long as you're using both your anti and your sleep at separate times, then you should be fine, because then Krika won't be able to like either cleanse the anti, or after she does that, then you can do the sleep when he's trying to like vape up or something like that, right? So use your cooldowns wisely and you can still get value with Ana. Yeah. So let's finish this up here. Brig, probably the worst support in the game right now. Doesn't get much value. And all these other ones, so we're putting Brig up into the D tier. Soldier, probably around here with Cassidy on B. He does get value. He can run around the map. Yeah, it gets consistent damage, but not enough burst damage to actually be able to kill like, you know, any of these characters, which is like the problem, because you can get, you know, sustained damage, but with like a Lucio Krika, you're taking like fast fights, so you don't really get that much value with, you know, the soldier, rather than having like the Reaper just instantly deleting a tank, rather than taking like 10 years to kill a tank with soldier. So one shot, pretty much like a couple shot, and, you know, just chip and damage. So that's what we'll have soldier in the B tier. Hammond's probably around, I'd say, C. He's a little bit better than Junker Queen, just as long as you're using like his kit to, you know, roll around, get engages, but definitely not the best. Not even really in the best shape, just because you don't really apply that much pressure to your team. And with Hog being in the meta now, you're just going to get hooked and put down to like half HP before you get any value whatsoever with like a slam or something. Or Hog's just going to like left click, right click, and then wait to hook you when you try and get an engage and actually be useful on Hammond. So yeah, Hammond's not really the best spot with, you know, Hog moving up into the S tier here. Let's see. Symmetra. I think Symmetra is also in D tier. Yeah, not very useful at all, ever. Yeah, she shoots fast now, but yeah, still not very situational to use, and very rare, if any, situations she's like the right pick opposed to like any other ones. Let's go Hanzo. I think Hanzo is still solid. I'll probably just leave him up, and we'll probably have a decent amount of characters up in B tier here, just because he does have like one-shot potential, breaks bubbles fast, can delete Hog when he's trying to come at you as you're playing distance. Yeah, so I think Hanzo is still pretty solid. Keep him in B tier just because of his damage potential and one-shots. Junkrat, I'll probably leave. Is good. I'll probably move him up into B tier here. And the reason why we'll have Junkrat up in B tier, just because he does have, with like his trap, and as long as you're using like your, you know, double mine, you can get yourself out of like sticky situations and do a lot of damage. as long as you're like setting up, you know, like a shot to nade, or like the concussion mine to nade and stuff like that. And if you put him in like, you know, cheeky little spots, you can probably get a trap on like a Hog or a Winston that's trying to do an engage, and then after that you can just blow him up instantly. So we'll leave Junkrat up in the B tier. Torb, C or B, I would say. Let's just put him in B tier, I guess. Yeah, he does have good survivability. You can put his turret as long as you're putting in like off angles, far back. It might not. It's gonna be harder for a lot of these characters to kill it. And has a good right click if you know use your molten core thing and right click a Hog or Winston or something that dives you, so you can have that extra like burst damage while having like the survivability. So leave him up in B tier, and then, you know, as always, Doomfist, the last one. And who can guess where he's going? Yeah, to the trash, dude. Doom to the trash. Hasn't been buffed since, so still at the bottom. With the Sombra nerf, he did get a little bit better, but still not good at all. Hog will just, you know, hook you, get a lot more value. Yeah, counters are through the roof with him. If you're like a Doomfist god, maybe you can still get value until you come up against a team that is like working together and calming, and once they're that, then you just get no value, right? So you can get value against a team that's no coordination, but once you start getting higher up and facing those teams, you're gonna lose those matches. So yeah, for those reasons, Doom is at the bottom and stays at the bottom, but you could get value in certain situations with them, with Sombra pretty much being never used, so you don't really have that CC problem anymore. But yeah, so that was a pretty fast done tier list. Hope it was helpful for you guys. See your character anywhere on this list. Hopefully, you know, yeah, you know what to pick now. Pick the right characters, choose whichever ones if you're new. Pick ones close to the top, learn those, and yeah, till the next tier list. See you guys later. Peace.